So as most of you guys know, Richmond are expected to be pretty quiet this off-season, pretty quiet this trade period, this draft, all of the above. They haven't been linked to 976 different players like the St Kilda Football Club have. They've been very, very quiet. You know, they were linked to Malcolm Roses. Some rumours that they may trade their picks, may or may not. Very big emphasis on the may or may not. But not a whole lot was really happening until now, where it has been revealed. Ah, shit, I've got like freaking demon in my eye hole. Oh. Has been revealed that Richmond are having a massive coaching change-up. And it's not the change-up that a lot of you guys were probably hoping for or expecting. I think a lot of us were probably sitting here thinking, holy crap, our forward line was probably the worst forward line we've ever freaking seen. The movement in there was terrible. We definitely needed to change something up there. That didn't happen. Chris Newman, who was the forwards coach this year, will continue to be the forwards coach next year, is what is being reported, which, I mean, I don't know. Like, I want to say that's an L by Richmond for continuing to do that, but you know, in saying that, Chris Newman, I think, is only very new to the forward line coaching. I don't think he did any of that at Hawthorn. I think he was VFL and maybe something else. I could be wrong with that. I know he got an upgrade after VFL, but I thought it was the backs or mids. The thing is as well, Chris Newman is coaching like a bunch of 18-year-olds in that forward line. I still don't know if that changes the fact, though, that all these young players, even though they might be young, they should still know how to goddamn lead at a bloody footy coming inside 50, and most of them just stand there fiddling with their penis or some shit. I don't know, but they're doing everything but leading for the ball. Again, Chris Newman being changed was not what has happened, but a couple changes here. Of course, Jake Batchelor and Sam Lonergan are going to be stepping into bigger coaching roles for next year. Batchelor led Richmond's VFL team to, of course, the finals this year as, you know, their senior coach. He will be moving to the backline, replacing Steve Morris, while Lonergan, who I believe was the head player and development coach for the last 6 years, I think he's finally got himself a promotion now, of course, where he will now be the ball movement and stoppage coach in that midfield. That is what is being reported that he is going to take over from. Yeah, a lot of really interesting choices. First of all, Steve Morris, you know, losing him as the backline coach was terrible, because Richmond's backline, as we know, in my opinion, was a top 8 backline all year. I think Richmond's backline was incredible. The fact that Richmond, even though I think they were still the 17th most scored on or something like that, the fact that Richmond's midfield and forward line would consistently get killed like every single game, and the back line held up enough to the point where the Tigers were able to win 5 games backed off that and were able to be competitive in a lot, really says a lot about how goated Richmond's back line was this year. Like, I think if, you know, we had a middle-of-the-road back line, we probably would have had 1 million points scored on us every single game because of how bad some of our transition footy was, how bad some of our two-way footy was. Our backline held up extremely well. So Jake Batchelor has a massive task now on his hand to continue the backline and what, of course, was going on with that. So we'll have to see how he does go. Sam Lonergan as the stoppage coach is interesting for a lot of reasons. You know, our old stoppage coach was actually Blake Carousella, and he, of course, left the club. The Tigers replaced him, and then for the last year, we actually brought back in Blake Carousella, but Carousella was designated to the whole entire midfield. So he was doing midfield and stoppage. So the reality is that Richmond have now kind of realized we need a midfield coach and a stoppage coach like every other team in the comp. And they've actually made Carousella the midfield coach and made Lonergan the stoppage coach, which is interesting for a lot of different reasons. I mean, I'm assuming the midfield coach probably gets paid more than what the stoppage coach does. That's probably why Carousella stuck with that role. But in saying that, it is a little bit weird not to have Carousel be the stoppage coach and then just go and get a midfield coach. Especially considering our midfield. I mean, there were some games it was good, but there were also some games our midfield, oh my god, it was so bad. And would just get killed. It was so slow for a lot of the year. Yeah, I don't know. It could be more so personnel than coaching in there. I'd say we have a very slow midfield, very one-dimensional midfield that doesn't have much speed or burst in there. So we'll have to see how Lonergan goes, but this is the right call to have a midfield coach and a stoppage coach be separate from each other. So I like that. But yeah, a lot of pressure on both of these guys where Jake Batchelor is continuing now almost a legacy of us just having elite backline coaches. Like, we've had some crazy coaches like Ben, Truck, of course, was our backline coach in the 2017 flag. I think Lepper may have transitioned to backline coach after that. We of course had Stephen Morris there. We'll have to see how Batchelor goes. That's going to be one that I'm very interested to see. But other than that, we did finally get a new VFL coach with it being announced. And this is the weird one. Jack Madgen will reportedly be the new VFL senior coach. We are thrilled to announce former Collingwood defender Jack Madgen as our new VFL senior coach. Madgen has recently been the captain of Adelaide's NFL team and held coaching roles with the Crows Academy and AFLW team. Yeah, really weird. They're kind of switching it up here. The Tigers have had a lot of, former players now, and I think the Tigers have had the most elite VFL coaches. Craig McRae, Steve Morris, and Jake Batchelor, all three insanely good coaches. And you go from that to Jack Madgen, who I think is a very non-proven. Like, he's so much more unproven than all the other guys we had before him. It's going to be one to test. Like, I think if Richmond even have a bad season in the VFL, which we haven't for so long, some eyebrows will be raised on that decision. I'm going to have faith in him. I think it is a really weird one. Like, we got to remember Jake Batchelor, he was coaching, I think, the Frankston Dolphins. He was assistant coach there for a couple of years. Then he went over to Sandringham, and I think he may have been their VFL coach. Then went to us. He was an insanely good coach. He obviously got that really well-deserved promotion. I don't know about Jack Madgen. I don't know really much about him as a coach, and he's done a lot of South Australian work, so we'll see how he goes, but they promoted him there. We do have two really good signings here. I do like these ones a lot. Luke Bruce has been signed as a development coach, and Taylor Duray has been signed as another development coach. Sometimes teams can have too many cooks in the kitchen when it comes to coaches. I think Richmond were a rare team last year that didn't have enough coaches. We only had one or two development coaches in Jack Zabel and Lonergan, who was like the head or whatever. Next year, the Tigers are now going to have Duray, Bruce, and Zabel all as development coaches, as well as Lonergan now getting promotion to be another coach alongside Carousel in that midfield. I think both of these guys are really good signings. I think Duray was actually a very underrated, middle-sized defender who could play as a half-back, but he could actually play as a back pocket, defend some of those smaller forwards. He was really underrated, won a couple flags for Hawthorn, played a crucial role for the Dogs in a not so good backline for a lot of years that the Dogs were trying to cook with there. He was pretty good. So I like Duray as a player. We'll see how he goes as a coach. And then Luke Bruce. Luke Bruce is one of the most, if not the most accurate kick for goal in the competition. And right now, Richmond have the most inaccurate kicks for goal in the competition. So I can only imagine that not only do they think Luke Bruce, maybe with some development, could be the forwards coach in the future, but I'm guessing they think Luke Bruce right now can come in as a development guy, learn from the other coaches, but add some really good feedback to the very young forwards on his craft as a small forward, how to properly work a forward line and how the movement of Hawthorn's was. Hopefully he can bring that. But also, goal kicking. I feel like Harry Armstrong, there's a lot wrong with his ball drop. He drops the ball way too high. I think if he just dropped it a little bit lower, he could be a really good set shot for goal. Jonty Fall has an interesting kicking action as well that Bruce might be able to give him some tips about. There's definitely a lot of, I think, things that Bruce can add to this team if he can develop these guys like he was as a player. And, you know, he was a very good player off the ball when it comes to his movement as a small forward. That would be elite if he could show our forwards how to do that, how to carry and, you know, run to the ball, how to lead up to a kicker, all of that, but also teach our team how to freaking kick some set shots or something. I don't even know. That will be very, very important. And I think the Tigers have done very well here with some of these coaching moves. But again, I'm very interested to hear how all of your thoughts and opinions are on all of this. Do you guys think that Richmond signing these coaches were the good ideas, bad ideas? Did you like them? Are you happy with Madgen as the VFL coach, which I think is an interesting one? Definitely don't forget to leave a like on this video to let me know you enjoy it. Subscribe to the channel for all latest AFL content and news. My gaming/movie channel, which will also be getting linked down below. Go check that out. But yeah, you know, as I was saying, please make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and comment. And I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.